What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Scary Hour. And the world is going to end, y'all. Um, you know, I just seen a report a couple days ago that the UN Intergovernmental Panel said that within this decade, we're gonna see an increasingly amount of flooding, increasingly amount of heat waves and drought. Now, obviously, we've always been hearing this for a long time now, decades upon decades upon decades, about people talking about, the importance of recycling and not littering and stuff like that, so now we're starting to see, or not see it yet, because it kind of hasn't happened yet. We haven't really, here in North America, we haven't really seen the catastrophe of like what climate change can do necessarily. People will usually just chuck it up to natural disasters, but then like in that title they'll sprinkle in a little bit of this is what happens when global warming increases and whatnot. But increasingly more drought, more, there's gonna be more heat waves, more flooding. We did it to ourselves, y'all. We did it to ourselves. The higher ups, people in power, it's been a good run for you guys. We didn't get the chance to even have a run, but for the minorities. But yes, honestly, it's inevitable. Shit like this is gonna happen. All the trees motherfuckers be chopping down just to make some papers. And even after like the internet really popped off, obviously, ever since we've had internet or the web, trees haven't gotten as chopped down as much as they used to get chopped down back in the days. But still, you feel me? I still get mail. You feel me? And every time I could tell you the amounts of time that I've thrown out mail. Like, it's majority of my mail gets thrown out. I get surprised when I see something that I have to actually save. And every time I sit there opening my mail, ripping mail card to mail card, I just think about each tree that just got chopped down. And it's not a laughing matter, obviously, but it's funny enough to how ridiculous we are as animals. It's like we're just asking for our own instinctions. So it's like I just don't get it, And then also there was the general of the UN. He said something along the lines of like, oh, there's still room to actually not cause an entire like catastrophe from happening. There's room for basically for us to fix a natural disaster coming our way. It's like, it's not really natural. We kind of caused it, number one. And number two is like, stop giving people room to try to like continue littering, continue doing bullshit that destroys Mother Nature and Earth. Like, I feel like we've always had that room. Obviously, ever since global warming has become a thing for decades upon decades, every time we hear a report on it, there's always somebody saying, oh, we still have room to like prevent this from happening. And it's like, yo, bro, don't say shit like that. Even if we do have room, like just don't say shit like that, or say it, but don't report it. God damn, man. I just feel like people are so, like, us human beings as a species, as animals, we're just so like, okay. Then that means then if there's space for that, then there's still a little room for us to continue on doing this for just a little more. You know, like just a tiny bit more. Let's just continue doing this a little more. We'll finish next year. Well, next year we'll really implement something so big that'll cause our company to kind of defer to other means of that are more helpful for Earth. So it's like, yeah, just don't even say nothing. Like, that's how I feel about it. If I was him, I wouldn't even bother on even saying, "Oh, there's room for us to prevent something big from happening," because it's like, nah. Let us think worst of the worst. Let us think. They always want to implement the wrong shit. Like, they never want to implement things that are actually helpful. Like, I don't really understand. When I read that, it's obviously no. It was kind of surprising, but it's not no crazy news where it's like, oh my god, oh shit, now we gotta like watch out, now we gotta look out, oh my god, this and the third. But my outlook on this whole story is that we hear it every so now and then. Like, obviously when the Amazon was on fire, we was hearing all about it. Every time the West Coast lights up on fire, we hear about it. Something always has to happen for us to hear about it. It's never something that's a daily reminder. You know, just same way you live in your house and it's a daily reminder to throw out the garbage a few times a week, or every day you throw out the garbage in your household, unless you're the type of person that just let that shit pile up. Every day you wash dishes. You feel me? It's not a daily reminder in that sense. And I feel like that's how it should be, given that this is our home. You know, it's a more of a broader way of saying it, because there's, 8 billion people living in this fucking rock, huge floating rock. But I feel like same way you and whoever lives in your household, maintain that household clean and whatnot. For those of you clean freaks and people that actually clean, it's the same way us 8 billion people should really consider the Earth, given that our homes are in this rock that's floating around. So that's kind of more like of the way I see it. I don't litter. I try my best not to litter, even if it's the smallest thing. But even then, that's just me doing it. This is not something that everybody's doing. You go to different countries and you see piles of tons of garbage everywhere. People even defer to means of burning different piles of trash, which also doesn't fucking help. It eliminates the trash because it burned it, and it's like, you feel me? It's not no longer there anymore. But then again, all that smoke is going where? Right up there. So it's like, I don't know. It's stuff like that I look at, and it's just like, I see what you're trying to do, but that's just like putting a Band-Aid over a cut. As opposed to just letting the cut, stop bleeding on its own and healing without ever needing the Band-Aid. You're just putting a Band-Aid over global warming for the time being. And yeah, because that's the thing is we're very selfish. We don't think about the future. We don't think about, we tend not to think about, I'm not generalizing everything on everybody. I'm not generalizing this on everybody, but, we tend, as human beings, as primitive as we are, we tend to be very selfish, and that's okay to a certain extent. I feel like, obviously, if you are looking for if you are somebody who's looking to have kids in the future, and you're just solely thinking about yourself, you ain't shit, because it's like, bro, you're gonna die in 50 years, but it's like your kids will still be here 100 years from now. You know, like, I don't know. Or your kids are gonna be here 150 years from now, 200 years from now. You're gonna be the great 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 grandpa and shit, like a grandmother. You get my drift. You get my point. And obviously, you know, times are gonna change. Humans adapt. I get it, but that's why we're selfish, because we don't always try to keep things how they are for the better of it. It's just more so like chucking it up to adaptation and just being like, you know what? Well, humans are great at adapting. You can adapt in the future. And if you have to wear this, I don't know. Let's just think outside the box real quick. If you want to be wearing a boxed cube over your head in order for you to just get some actual like good oxygen, and every month you buy an oxygen tank that helps you breathe that oxygen through that cube, then so be it. That's adaptation, and that's one of the things we are very good at as humans. So I don't know, I feel like we are very selfish in that way, and that's why we don't care. You know, that's why we don't care about recycling. That's why we don't care about whether we throw a little bit of a straw, the straw wrap on the floor when we're about to use a straw, or things like that. And it just, I hate people like that. And yeah, I mean, that's really what I have on that. I just feel like we need to prioritize it. It's our rock. You know, that's trillions upon trillions of other rocks like us out there in different millions other galaxies or whatnot. But right now, for the time being, we're here. We can't make it out there. We can't just go from one place to the other. So it's like, just treat it as your home. Use the analogy I used earlier, and just look at it in the way that this is your household, because it is. In reality, your home where you live at, whether if it's an apartment, a house, a condominium, and a private rich section of a certain state or whatnot, or region or whatnot, wherever the fuck you live at. If you live in a shack, in a doghouse, I don't know, then treat it like that, because that shit that you live in is touching the ground. That's literally deteriorating by the decades. That's my little rant on climate change and the warning we just got earlier this week. And this, I don't know, man. Yeah, we're gonna die at the expense of our own minds and our own creations and our own doings. Yeah. I just wonder, like, 2 to 3, like in 2050, like, I wonder how things are gonna look. You know? I wonder if, like, we would have to, for example, like, do it the way they do it in the movie Wall-E, where like Earth is just a place you can go to like fill with trash or for like auto parts and like things like that. Meanwhile, everybody's just living out in space in a spaceship and whatnot, in this like fake world where you could go shopping and whatnot. It's stuff like this, news like that kind of opens my eyes to looking at that plot of that fictional movie as like okay, you know what, it's kind of probable. There's something that may be in the works, even if it's not in 2050, but you know what I mean, like even if it's like 2070 or whatnot. So I don't know, y'all. Let's get our fucking act together. Just throw some fucking. Just do the right thing. It's our rock. It's our home. And that's my rant. Earlier last week, Simone Biles. Jesus Christ, don't cut me for that. Simone Biles. She was getting slandered all across the internet and all social medias because what they were deeming of as quitting the Olympics. When in reality, people don't ever know what's happening behind other people's lives and behind closed doors. She, at the moment, at the very beginning of it, was chucking it up. Well, not chucking it up too, but she was saying that it was because of her mental health. She doesn't feel mentally stable enough to compete. And there were actually people, believe it or not, that were really over here talking about like, mental health? You're going to chuck it up to mental health? And it's like, yo, bro, you believe it or not, you do actually need your mind in order for you to do your profession. Even if you yourself, your opinions go more towards the side of, when you're earning millions of dollars to play a sport, you don't need your mind. When you do. It's you need your mind. You need, for example, in basketball, you need that certain thought to come across your head to know when's the right moment to cut into the basket. When is the right moment to pull up for a three? When is the right moment to make that pass and go for the steal or go for the block? So yes, you do need your mind. So that, I don't know, people that there were actually a couple people who were throwing that out there and calling her a coward for leaving the Olympics. Then, they started digging more into it. And I think she was taking like antidepressants or something like that. And the Olympics are in Tokyo, and Tokyo is really big on athletes not taking, or anybody in general, taking any kinds of drugs the way we are here, kind of. So, those were out the window of rip as somebody competing in the Olympics. So, and she was, I don't know specifically if it was antidepressants, but she was taking something. And it was completely cut off during these Olympics. Then, a couple days later, it came out that her aunt had passed away a few days before the Olympics. So, and it was unexpectedly. It wasn't like she was already, her and her family were already dealing with the fact that this is going to happen or whatnot. But she passed during the right before the Olympics, and people didn't know that. But you see all these social media outlets going out and talking all that shit about, she dropped out, and then people putting in their opinions on something that doesn't even have to deal with them. Because it's like, I hate that shit, how people always want to opinionate on certain things they don't know the full story of. And I myself do the same thing, you feel me? So I'm a little bit of a hypocrite for even saying that. But there's a difference. There's people who say things as soon as it comes out and then completely have an opinion that they're literally married to. And then there's people who let the story develop. Because nowadays you have to believe you have to understand, not even believe because it's true, but as a person, you have to understand that these social media outlets that you depend on or that you read a lot on, all of their stories, majority of their stories are developing stories. And that's not even a today thing. That's something that was primitive back. Oh, primitive. I don't even know why I use that word there, but that was something that was really used back in the days when there was no internet and social media and Instagram or whatnot. When there was just, you would have to buy the local newspaper to read what's going on that day or that week. But even then, there were stories that were developing stories, and you would hear it come up again a few weeks later or a few days later on the newspaper all over again, because they are developing. Now, people forget this and immediately have an opinion, immediately want to speak out against or for that person or that thing that broke news, and forget that literally easily later on that week, their mind completely can change. Their mind can hit a whole 360 about that topic, because since is a developing story, it'll kind of, something might come out that you can look at and be like, oh shit, well, I didn't know that. If I would have known that a couple days ago, I would have said what I said. Shit, my fault. And then they're not ready for to get criticized for saying whatever they said. So give me a second. So yeah, I don't know, man. I feel so much better. I feel like my throat, everything was like dry as shit. Look, the drought is already happening. The drought is already happening. The story came out last week and the drought already happening. But yeah, guys, I don't know, man. Yo, you know what's crazy? Now that I even think about it, motherfuckers be jacking all this shit about, they don't be jacking it. It's true. About global warming and stuff like that. But then it's like, in Dubai a few weeks ago, they like made it rain on purpose. Like they literally like put clouds over this certain section. I didn't read much into it, but they made it purposely rain because it was too hot. Why can't we do that? When the drought part comes in, can we do that? Or when the flooding part comes in, why can't we? Nah, that's the sun though. That's different. Never mind. Can we make it humid? Still too much water. Still though, you get what I'm saying? Like, why can't we put too much cloud? Like, why can't we like make the clouds go to that drought section? Like, feel me? Dubai did it. That's Dubai, but like, still, nobody owns clouds. Like, I don't know, bro. I probably sound stupid as shit, but I don't know, bro. It just makes sense to me. But then again, I'm dumb, so it's like, I'm a moron. I don't know, y'all. But yes, going back to Simone Biles. She people be quick to put their opinions into shit that they don't know nothing about. I like to put the read more under the thing. People just read the caption and just automatically assume that that's the full story. But I like to click the see more under the caption, and because the caption be too long, so like they'll cut it short. And these social media platforms be doing that shit where it's like they'll put the caption and then like they'll recite the caption on. They'll put the title on the picture and then they'll recite the caption or the title on the captions, and you would have to click more to see a little bit more in depth. Not necessarily entirely the entire story, but a little more in depth for you to kind of get an idea. And certain people do look at that too. I've decided to do that a lot, but a lot of people, they don't. They just go based off of thing. One story I'll tell you about in which case I didn't do that in was the story that Biden elongated or even pushed more for the pause of student loans, which I myself have a few dollars to pay, and up until January. So when I seen that, I was like, oh, I don't even need to see more, bro. I don't need to see more, bro. I read the title. I was like, oh. Showed my friends, showed my girl. I'm like, oh, it's late. I was getting prepared to start paying this month. Got him. My boy Bitey got us. You feel me? He might as well just eliminate a couple thousands. Like, damn, bro. At least a couple thousand. Like, I don't know, something, bro. I'm appreciative. You feel me? I don't know about people, because people be quick to be like, that's all? That's it? Like, whoa, relax, bro. Something is something, my nigga. Like, yes, it is it, but then at the end of the day, like, you have to put in account, you have to take count of how many people there is in student debt. So, but then again, it's like, fuck them. Yeah, why not just eliminate the shit? I don't know, bro. But yeah, guys, I don't know. That's a couple of the stories of how it's been these past couple days. And yeah, you know, with the global warming thing, it's scary. I'm tired of listening about it, though. It's like, we don't do shit about it, bro. People, like individuals, ourselves, like people like me, people that like working a everyday job and live, people who are minimum wage people, we don't do shit about it. We're so stuck in ourselves and so full of ourselves, as if we have something to, like, as if we have a reason to, like, if we got millions of dollars in our bank account, talking about, like, you know, that can actually show, oh, look, this is what I work for or whatnot. It's like, at least do something, bro. Like, stop being so negative all the time. Yeah, I mean, it's not our fault. You feel me? I fell myself into that trap of thinking so negatively. And it's just because the job that I've been in, the jobs that I've been in put me there. There's jobs that I've been in that put me in a situation where my mind just spirals into negativity, and my mind just goes into thinking straight off rip about negative thinking and anything that has to do where I can bash this company, or I can bash this person in that I'm working with or whatnot. But yeah, it's something that we have to kind of grow out of and understand that it happens and learn not to do. So yeah, you know, read a story before you even say anything about it. Make sure you understand it, and also don't be married to your ideology. Don't be married into your opinions either. They're gonna change, even whether if it's next month or in 10 years, about anything. It doesn't even have to be about a certain topic. It could be about absolutely anything. So the American Medical Association recently pushed for the removal of gender on birth certificates. And when I first seen this, you know, I understand that there's people that don't identify as male or don't identify as female. They identify as something else. So I completely respect that, and I completely understand that. The part that I don't like is just the entire removal of it. You know, it's something that it's something that I look at, and it's like, me as a parent, give me the choice to put that my child is either a male or a female. Because when my child is old enough to create an opinion of his or hers own, then they can make that transition into wanting to either change that themselves. But me personally, as for example, the father of that kid or whatnot, or the parent, point blank, I just don't like the entire removal of it. I think it's fucked up, and it's something that you're not letting. It's like you're not letting me choose myself. You're not letting myself choose. You don't at least add more things maybe for other parents and what they would like their kid to associate as, or for other people who don't believe that there's only two genders. I personally am not, and I'm not informed as much in order to even have an argument about whether there is two genders or not. I just automatically respect people's opinions, just because I myself don't know much. Now, if I sit here and I speak to somebody who knows well more than I do, then that's a different story. You feel me? I get to sit here and I get to let that person educate me. And then later on, if I feel comfortable enough, I can have an opinion on it. But so far, my opinion is very generic, and that's just that I just disagree with this entire removal. Maybe if it wasn't just a removal, if it was maybe if it wasn't a removal, if it was just to include more options to add to the genders of birth certificates. For example, it's like strictly like removal. In my birth certificate, I see male. You feel me? And it's like, and there's job applications that do the same thing. There's a lot of y'all that don't identify as either a man or a female, and y'all work at a place that required y'all to fill in that box, whether you are a female or a male. But you be on Instagram wilding about these little stories that come out that contain two genders. I don't know, bro. That's my story on that. It's really quick. Ain't much about it. It was a little surprising when I seen that shit. I was like, what? Nigga, miss me with that bullshit, bro. Fuck all that, bro. You bugging out. But yeah, and today, on the recording of this video, of this episode, we just got news that Governor Andrew Cuomo will resign. And when I seen this, I was a little shocked because a couple days ago, he had put up a statement that said that he's not going to resign because he knows he didn't harass any females. Like, he knows he didn't do anything wrong. And he's going to continue to stand strong for this or whatnot. I don't know if the man did anything. I personally don't know if the man harassed anybody or whatnot. People nowadays are very, and let me stress clearly, very soft. Motherfuckers be bitching and complaining about everything. I'm not going to say it was true. I'm not going to say it was not true. I'm not going to go here and come on here and because I myself don't know much about the statements of these women that came forth and spoke against Andrew Cuomo. But coming from a Spanish culture, coming from a Hispanic family, we are very loving, and it can come off as being in the sense of being kind of too touchy, but that's just how, I don't know how to explain it, but I'm gonna try my best to explain it. We're very, very loving. And there's many in different ways in which we show our love. And just our appreciation. It doesn't even necessarily have to be love. It could be just our appreciation for you as an individual. There are many ways in which that comes in. There's many different packages for us Hispanics, and I'm just it's talking about Hispanics, but there's a lot of there's a lot of similarities that we have with the Italian culture, for example, when it comes to that, being very loving and whatnot. But yes, it's me myself being a Dominican man. I'm very loving. I am very somebody who when I want to show you appreciation, I like to show you it with words majority of the times. If we know each other very deeply and if we're very close with each other, I'm the type of dude to give you a hug. I'm the type of dude to tell you that I love you and whatnot, or that I appreciate you and whatnot. So that can come off, I feel like, as harassment. Because that's, as, for example, the regular white person could come off as harassment. Literally. It could come off as like, oh, dude, why did you hug me like that? Oh my God. Like, why did you even bother on like touching me the way you touched me? Like, I don't understand. Why did you give me a kiss on my cheek like that? And it's like, it's stuff like that kind of has a misconception. Obviously, there are weirdos out there. There are people who are very, who actually want to physically touch you for their sake of being very perverted and whatnot. But then there's people who you have to like take in accountability, like where the person's from, I feel like. Because it's like they didn't grow up like that. They grew up with a lot of love. They grew up with a lot of appreciation. So they're showing you that. They're telling. They're like they're giving you what they grew up with because they trust you enough to do that. And I've heard, from what I've heard, there were a lot of these were women that he worked with, and I've been in jobs and I've been in places where the work that I was working, or the place that I was working in, all of us as workers, as employees, would get along pretty well, and well enough to where we felt comfortable with each other, to joke around with each other and stuff like that. Obviously, I personally, with my experiences, I've never been in a situation where like, oh, I would be touchy with a coworker. It's more so like comfortable enough to joke around a certain way. That's a little bit different than somebody who you just met or your first day at work, for example. So I feel like if I don't know much about the story and everything that's going on with him and his case, he might have probably even did actually harass people and was actually sitting around and doing what you're not supposed to be doing. But then it's like, keep that same energy with Donald Trump. You feel me? Like, Andrew Cuomo is not really considered he's considered more of a from the left leaning, it's not necessarily, doesn't correlate. A lot of people don't correlate him to more so like a right wing, but it's like when we had a right wing person in this same even worse predicament where there was more coming out than Andrew Cuomo's situation. Only obviously the leftists were pushing to like get this guy to resign, and that was Donald Trump. You feel me? But guess what the right was doing? They were being very quiet about it. So it's like well, not everybody, obviously. This is not generalized, obviously. But I just want to give you a different outlook of the situation. There are very soft people out here, and this generation is very soft. There are people who didn't even grow up in this generation, who have just decided to purposely become soft in order to adapt to this generation. And it's stuff like that I just be like, Come on, you know better, but you're doing it on purpose. You're catering to this generation, even though your generation was hard as fuck. And it's like, it's stuff like that, y'all. It's things like that that I look at and I just be like, bro, whatever. Hey, man. Thank God I'm not deeply devoted into a political stance. Thank the Lord I'm not. Thank the Lord I stay on the surface level of shit. You feel me? Because I feel like I would let it take over my mind a lot. And one thing that already does that is not sleeping well at night. So yeah, I don't know. But moving on, we're gonna get to the basketball aspect of things now. The Lakers. After acquiring Russell Westbrook, we have acquired Kendrick Nunn, Malik Monk. We have acquired Carmelo Anthony. Who else? I forgot the names. It just went over. Dwight Howard is back in line. You feel me? Like, and that was something that I was really concerned about, was just the center aspect and position of the Lakers, because at the moment in the roster we only had Andre Drummond and this other dude, Marc Gasol. But obviously, Marc Gasol is a little hurt. Well, not hurt. He's a little old. So physically, mentally he's there because he's a really smart individual. But physically, it's like he could get really banged up. And for him to be playing majority of the minutes as center throughout the entire 82 season, because remember guys, we're going back to 82 games. I can't wait for that. I don't even care. Like, it just even bothered me just missing like 10 games or however many games we missed last year. I think it was like 72. I think it was cut by 10 games. Just knowing that it wasn't an entire full 82 game season bothered me in me a little bit. But it's like, I was looking at that center position and I was like, I know for a fact if we don't get another center, because we just lost Andre Drummond, which I'm very happy for. Go anywhere else you want. You was basura. And for anybody who doesn't speak Spanish, basura means trash. My mans, you was the dirt of the dirt. You ain't do shit. And somebody, I forgot who said this, but somebody said he could give you 20 and 30 in a game and you can still see no impact. And that's a fact. That is a fact. I could count the amount of times the ball was passed to this man. He would either lose control of it, can't proceed to make the dunk, or would be too soft under the rim. And it's like, I'm just so happy this man is no longer in the roster. He could go wherever. You feel me? I kind of wish we could have like signed him and then like traded him on purpose to get like a bigger and better outcome of the situation. But hey man, we don't got that nigga in the roster no more, so I'm happy as fuck. And if you would have asked me who would you choose between the three, Montrezl Harrell, Marc Gasol, and Andre Drummond, I would definitely choose Marc Gasol just because of his veteranship and the fact that he's very fucking smart. He can make a beautiful pass. He could direct. He could do something down there, and even if he can't do something about it, he could tell somebody else to do it. In which case, Anthony Davis is supposed to pick up a lot of the minutes. He's supposed to be having kind of an implement into the center position, which I'm not happy about because he doesn't feel comfortable in the center position, and I myself don't feel comfortable with him being in the center position, given that he's so fucking soft as well. Physically, this nigga is a motherfucking toothpick. This man is continuously getting hurt and is prone to getting hurt. So it's like, I would much rather you bang a little less, pause, down in the center position and bring it up a little to your specialty, which is the power forward position, and flourish there. So when we got the Dwight Howard, I was very happy. I was very excited. We don't have to do absolutely anything to the center position anymore, because now even if AD plays minutes in the center position, it won't pass more than 10 minutes, because it's gonna be between Marc Gasol and Dwight Howard, which is like, we got the physicality and the mentality for the center position. So, which is what we lacked on. And now we're in between forwards and the guards. Like, we have so many guards, and then we have like so many forwards. We have Trevor Ariza, Kent Bazemore. He's actually more of a guard, kind of. So Trevor Ariza, LeBron James. We have Carmelo Anthony. With just those three, you have depth. I may be missing Jared Dudley. What the fuck is he gonna do? Everything that he has, that he do is on the bench. Talking to the players, the younger players. Giving them some kind of a different way of thinking about the game and whatnot. His savviness and support, it's well needed. He's a locker room player. That's why they have him signed. But those three have a huge impact, because Carmelo Anthony, he just came off of a 40% 3-point shooter with Portland, and he would impact. And I feel like he knows it. He himself knows it very well, that this is the best opportunity he's ever had to actually winning a ring. And he actually stated it earlier a couple days ago, that's something that keeps him up at night. That's something that he's always wanted to accomplish. And he exposed that LeBron actually hit him up and told him, this is our chance. This is our time to actually come here and ball the fuck out. And I want you. This is the opportunity that you've always wanted, and here it is. So I'm very happy to see Melo finally play with LeBron James. If you were to tell me out of the Banana Boat group, who would you choose aside from Wade between Melo and Chris Paul, I would most definitely select Melo. I don't care if Chris Paul is a little younger. I don't care if Chris Paul, his game is different or whatnot. But Melo's gonna flourish. I just see we're gonna see the best out of Melo within the last few years here with the Lakers this year. So Trevor Ariza, being the age that he is very he can play heavy minutes on the court. So we're definitely going to see a lot of LeBron resting, and that's something that is in my mind very important, and a lot of other minds as well, for it to happen. And now I'm probably missing somebody, probably another guard that we picked up that I'm not mentioning. I'm sorry for that, but I can't think of it right now. Now in terms of guard, we got, of course, the beast himself, Russell Westbrook. With forwards, obviously Anthony Davis as well. But aside from those four, and 5 with Jared Dudley. With the guard position, Russell Westbrook running the forefront. We have Kendrick Nunn, who is a great. He would be a great backup point guard, because he himself is, even though he's like a score first point guard, he does pass the ball very well. He's very quick. He's very savvy. He's very he plays very well. He came from the G League a few years back, and I feel like all of that veteran. He's a pretty old player, not pretty old, but like he has some age into him where like he's not down there with Malik Monk, who's like 23. He's 26 years old, and he is very smart with the basketball, and given his time being in the NBA, and he's a score first point guard, which actually can help where like let's say if you put Russell Westbrook at the point guard position and then like Kendrick Nunn at the shooting guard position, it would actually probably work. Or you could go like the other way around with it and put Kendrick Nunn in point guard position and then like Russell Westbrook in the shooting guard position. Whichever way, I feel like it will work pretty good. Also Kent Bazemore, who's more of a shooting guard. He's pretty small for him to be a forward. I guess in a small lineup, you could probably implement him in there, into the 3 position. But yeah, you most likely see him in the 2 guard position. And he also shoots very well from 3. A lot of you guys know he is a pretty good 3-and-D player. Defense is pretty solid, although his length is a little of a problem for him. That's really just what it is. We also picked up what's this guy's name? Wayne Ellington, who he's pretty of a he doesn't. Not really good with defense, I think. He's all he really does well is shoot the 3. Who he's I think is a 41% shooter from 3-point land, or 40. I'm not sure if I'm not mistaken. But he himself is a really good shooter. Is more like a Kyle Korver. He's wide open, pass it to him, he's gonna knock it down. Probably dribble once, twice. Make a little move or something. Desperation shot. He'll probably shoot it. Those are in Malik Monk, of course. Now, Malik Monk, I like Malik Monk because he's young and he has a lot of I don't really see him getting as much minutes as of course, as he was getting in Charlotte, but he is very athletic. Even if you implement him in there with Russell Westbrook as the one position as a point guard and put Malik Monk as a shooting guard, for example, I feel like you would have that power punch very well right there. I mean, I'm pretty sure Frank Vogel, who just got signed for like a 3-year deal with the Lakers, I'm pretty sure he's gonna find him a position with the Lakers in which he would flourish and he would actually do good in. Given that, he has all these veterans around him, alongside the Kendrick Nunns of the world, young 26-year-old, Anthony Davis, 28 years old. And I'm missing somebody else who's also around Talen Horton-Tucker, who is 20 years old. And he's also under the guard position. And you see what I mean? Like, we have not left this guard talk in a while. And it's like, yeah, see, he is very Taylor Horton-Tucker is very long, so I like him a lot on defense because this past year when I first seen him, or actually first paid attention to him, I could just see the length in his arms. Like, his reach is crazy. His reach is it's surprising. Like, I even showed my girlfriend. We were watching a game one night, and I was like, "Yo, babe, look at this nigga's arms." She was like, "Who? Oh, never mind. You don't even gotta tell me no more." This man's arms reach his knees. Him just standing straight. Like, dude got long ass arms. So that makes him really liable. Is it like no? Liable is bad, right? Yeah, no, wrong word choice. That makes him a problem on defense because he do be pickpocketing. You feel me? So, I like him a lot on defense. Just another guard. He doesn't shoot the 3-pointer very well, but it's like a 28% last year. But in every other aspect, in terms of under the rim, laying up the ball, he's very good at. So, maybe at the beginning of the game, implement him in there. I don't know. Frank Vogel's gonna do what he gonna do. You feel me? Trevor Ariza has relationships with, has had a friendship with Russell Westbrook for a while now. They know each other from Duke. And there's somebody else as well who also played in, Anthony Davis. Did he play in Duke or did he play in Kentucky? I forgot. But yeah, that's all we have for this episode of Scary Hour. I want to implement people in here more often. And that's going to happen. In a few months, we will get a new place. And I will be able to finally say that I can bring a guest every week or two. So thank you very much for you guys listening, viewing, liking, sharing, subscribing to the channel. And I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode, or this week's episode. And feel free to, put me on to anything that's going on out there that you may know about that I don't. And hit me up through DMs, and the description is down below. My Instagram is down below. Love you guys. This has been another episode of Scary Hour. And deuces.